Hello, I'm going to show you just the very basics of Google Forms. I actually have a whole range of Google Forms videos on my blog, www.excitededucator.com, as I did a year-long research project using it. So I'm just going to show you some of the basics and a couple of the cool tricks. So you're going to go to your Drive, either with your own Gmail account or with your school Apps for Education account, and you're going to go to New, More, and then Create Forms. Google Forms. On some of them, it doesn't say new, it says create, but the layout is exactly the same. So when you're in here, you want to check at the first settings. So for example, I don't necessarily want my form that I'm going to make to be only for people at my school. I want parents to get involved, so I'm going to click to get out of that. See where it says automatically collect respondent's school username? That's really useful if you're doing something in your school and actually you get some more honest results if you don't ask what is your name, because I kind of forget that it's there. But it does tell them. Show progress bar at the bottom, that's not very useful, and only allow one response per person. That requires a login, but that's really useful if you're doing a quiz, for example. So, my book form. Google Forms look quite ugly like this, but you can make them absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to show you some of the quiz types, so question types. So we're going to start with the book I read this summer was, and then you can give them text. Look, it's just a small box and they can write the name of their box, or if you want them to have more paragraphs, so you might do text just for this. Then you're going to do the next one, paragraph, a summary of the book. That gives them more space. And then I'm going to show you what I like. Multiple choice and tick boxes, ones that I use often. For multiple choice, it's very self-explanatory. You might find someone that's really annoying filling all those things. If you have a list and it's separated by, going down a line, you can just copy paste that into the very first question, and it goes all the way down like that. That's one of my favourite little tips. It saved me so much time, especially when I'm asking them the same questions over and over again. And we have Google Forms for all sorts of stuff, so not just things like book reviews or reading surveys. I might do a Google Form if they have to watch a video for homework or in class. I've done it to collect data for my yearbook. I've done it to collect evaluations on units they've done, all sorts of things. So at the moment it's pretty ugly. I'm going to show you how to make it a bit pretty, because obviously that is important to students. You're going to go to change theme, and you have a whole range of themes to choose from. So the form looks much nicer. It's going to take you straight into seeing what the form looks like, or you can actually go and you can search themes that you've already got. So I think this one's really nice. As librarians, you might often choose this one, but the one they have here is quite old-fashioned. I tend to think the one that the kids really like and giggle quite a lot at is the cat one. I'm going to show you a few more tricks just before I leave off. I wanted to show you Flubaroo. So I've explained that and I have a video that shows you in detail. Flubaroo is a great add-on, which means that it will grade multiple choice questions for you. What you do is you'll create your form, and you don't have to have every single question as a right or wrong thing. So you could have maybe a quiz about a book students have read, and those could be, who is the character that said, blah, 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 and then, it's either right or it's wrong what they say, so you do multiple choice, but you can still have questions in at the end, so summary of the book, my own feelings. It doesn't have to be just one of those very simple ones, because when you grade it, you choose which questions are graded. So what you would then do is automatically, when I sent this out, it's going to create another document called My Book Form Responses. That's actually going to take you to a response form from another quiz, which is a Google search one. If you want my Google search skills form, please let me know and I can send you a copy, and then you can use it in your schools. So here's the results I've had along the top of my questions, and then all the different answers along the bottom. It tells you the timestamp, the name. This one, because you can see they're not all school ones, I did ask people to give me their names, and then all the quizzes here. What's happened, you can see along here, is that I have completed the quiz. The reason for doing this is when you go to add-ons, Flubaroo, and grade Flubaroo, it's going to ask you who's the person you want to score against. That's how it knows what's right and wrong. It's also going to ask you, for each question, it's like a drop-down menu. It normally actually automatically responds. So for the name one, it will say identify as user, and it normally picks up straight away which question is which, and then it will say 1 point per question, and then you can change some of the ones that they've written paragraph, for example. And then you just do Flubaroo and it would say grade assignment here. Here's my grades. What it's done is it has highlighted anyone who's got lower than, I think, 70% or maybe lower than 80%, and it's also highlighted for me the questions that people have particularly struggled with. So this is fantastic. So if you were doing something like a library assistant form that all students complete once they have finished their library assistant training, and you're finding that all the students are getting one particular thing wrong, you can focus your training on that, or you can give them special attention to help them. Obviously you can see which questions individual students get wrong, but this is a really nice way of highlighting. It also gives you the average points possible, and you can have the option of emailing. So you go to add-ons, Flubaroo, and email grades. So students get a summary. I think they get which ones they've got right and wrong, their average and the class average. If you haven't got Flubaroo added, I tried to show lots of friends and they would automatically go into their original form, go to add-ons, and they couldn't find Flubaroo, and they found it quite frustrating. You have to do that in your response form. So you go to add-ons, Flubaroo, and then it will say, add-ons, get add-ons, and search for Flubaroo. Again, I have tutorials on my site, and Flubaroo itself has fantastic tutorials. So I'm trying to think of other ways to tell you that I've used Google Forms. For me, it's a really, really great way to maybe start or end the lesson. So I can send out a form to all my students, they can fill it in. For gathering interest, if I have a particular club that I think a lot of people are going to sign up for and probably drop out of in a week or so because they're not really interested, this is a really great way to find out who wants to join the club and why, so they've got the right idea of the club. It's really good for voting on books. So you can also insert images. So say, for example, I have a book cover, so I'm just going to get an image from Google. I won't check for one that I'm free to use at the moment just because it's going to be very quick. Not only can you have the forms make things beautiful, but you can insert images. So this is really nice. Insert image. And then underneath you can write loads of text which isn't related to a question. And you write the title, maybe a summary of the book, and then they vote. So we actually did this for our current superhero unit, which is in English, Maths and Design unit, and students got to vote on one of 5 superhero books. It's really, really good because they really feel ownership over that book. I think it's really fantastic. Another thing you can do is you can break up the questions into pages. So you just do insert page break, and so they have to go through various pages to complete the form, instead of it being one continuous long form, which is really, really useful for making choose your own adventure stories, which is something else that I have put into my blog. And the way that this works is basically it says go to page based on answer. So then you have extra pages so that it will be actually just like a physical choose your own adventure book. Hopefully I've introduced you to some of the cool things that Google Forms can do. They're really, really easy to use. They help save time. They help have all students participating in a class instead of just having all students, asking students to raise hands to answer a question. You can do things through Google Forms. It's a really great way to save data. And for surveys, it's particularly good because you can justify big purchases by saying, look, 90% of my students say there isn't enough books for them in the library, or more of my students want physical books instead of ebooks. So it's a really great way to gather data. If you have any questions about Google Forms, please send me an email. I seem to know quite a lot about it just because I spent a year doing the research project on Google Forms, but also because it's really, really easy. So enjoy and take care.